Good afternoon. This is Knowledge Time. Welcome, alchemists. Today I'll be reading from the book, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. I am currently in Chapter 10, Beware the Fragile Ego, The Law of Envy. Part 2, Keys to Human Nature. Of all the human emotions, none is trickier or more elusive than envy. It is very difficult to actually discern the envy that motivates people's actions or to even know that we have suffered an envy attack from another. This is what makes it so frustrating to deal with and so dangerous. The reason for this elusiveness is simple. We almost never directly express the envy we are feeling. If we feel anger toward people because of something they said or did, we may try to disguise our anger for various reasons. But we are aware that we are feeling hostile. Even the anger will leak out in some non-verbal behavior. And if we act upon our anger, the target will feel it for what it is and more often than not know what caused the anger in that moment. But envy is very different. All of us feel envy, the sensation that others have more of what we want, possessions, attention, respect. We deserve to have as much as they do, yet feel somewhat helpless to get such things. But as discussed above, envy entails the admission to ourselves that we are inferior to another person in something we value. Not only is it painful to admit this inferiority, but it is even worse for others to see that we are feeling this. And so, almost as soon as we feel the initial pegs of envy, we are motivated to disguise it to ourselves. It is not envy we feel, but unfairness at the distribution of goods or attention, resentment at this unfairness, even anger. Furthermore, the other person is not really superior, but simply lucky, overly ambitious, or unscrupulous. That's how they got to where they are. Having convinced ourselves that envy is not motivating us but something else, we also make it very difficult for others to detect the underlying envy. They see only our anger, indignation, hostile criticism, poisonous praise, and so on. In ancient times, those who felt intense envy might have acted upon it through violence, forcefully taking what the other had, or even resorting to murder. In the Old Testament, Cain murdered Abel out of envy. The brothers of Joseph threw him in a ditch in the desert to die because their father seemed to favor him. On several occasions, King Saul tried to kill the younger David, so handsome and naturally gifted, finally going mad with envy. Today, however, people are much more political and indirect, able to control any aggressive impulses and disguise what they're feeling. Instead of violence, enviers are likely to sabotage our work, ruin a relationship, sully our reputation, torment us with criticism that are aimed at our most basic insecurities. This allows them to maintain their social position while causing harm. Their targets not even suspecting envy as the motivation. They can justify these actions to themselves as righting the perceived imbalance or unfairness. If someone is angry with us and acts on it, we can analyze the anger this person is feeling and figure out a way to diffuse it or defend ourselves. But if we cannot see the underlying envy, we are inevitably confused by the hostile action of the envier, and this confusion doubles the pain we experience. Why are people suddenly being so cold to me? Why did the project fail so unexpectedly? Why have I been fired? Why is this person against me? Your task as a student of human nature is to transform yourself into a master decoder of envy. You are ruthless in your analysis and your determination to get to the root of what motivates people. The signs that people admit of envy are harder to discern, but they exist, and you can master the language with some effort and subtle discernment. Think of it as an intellectual challenge. By being able to decode it, you will not feel so confused. You will understand in hindsight that you suffered an envy attack, which will help you get over it. You might be able to see in advance the warning signs of such an attack and either diffuse or deflect it. And knowing the hidden pain that comes from one well aimed envy attack, you will spare yourself the emotional damage that can last for years. This will not make you paranoid, but only better able to weed out the false and fatal friends or colleagues from the real ones, the ones that can truly, the ones you can truly trust. Before immersing yourself in the subtleties of the emotion, it is important to distinguish between passive and active envy. All of us in the course of a day will inevitably feel some pangs of envy as we unconsciously monitor the people around us and sense that they might have more. It is a fact of social life that there are always people who are superior to us in wealth, intelligence, likability, and other qualities. If these pangs rise to the level of consciousness and are a bit acute, we might say something hurtful or mean spirited as a way to vent the emotion. But generally, as we experience this passive form of envy, we do not do anything that would, in any meaningful way, harm the relationship with a friend or colleague. In detecting signs of passive envy in others, for instance, little put downs and offhand comments, you should simply tolerate this as a fact of being a social animal. Sometimes, however, this passive envy turns active. The underlying sense of inferiority is too strong, leading to hostility that cannot be vented by a comment or put down. Sitting with one's envy over a long period of time can be painful and frustrating. Feeling righteous indignation against the envied person, however, can be invigorating. Acting on envy, doing something to harm the other person, brings satisfaction, as it did to Jane, although the satisfaction is short-lived because enviers always find something new to envy. Your goal is to detect the signs of this more acute form of envy before it turns dangerous. You can do this in three ways: by learning the signs of envy that manage to leak through, by being aware of the types of people who are more prone to acting on envy, and by understanding the circumstances and actions that might trigger active envy in people. You can never see all of the actions motivated by envy. People are simply too good at disguising it. But using all three decoding devices will increase your chance of detection. In conclusion, pretty much what I got from Keys to Human Nature is pretty much talking about how envy is pretty much something that if you have it, that it's a dangerous thing to hold, pretty much. I mean, that's how I see it. Or if you do have it, learn to what's the word? Learn to make amends with it, the envy. So, I mean, this is something, coming, something personal, envy. Let me see. I used to feel envy when I was younger about what other people had and stuff like that. And me coming from, like, the poorest of poor. Wow. I slept I went from poor in the Philippines to poor in Georgia. Like, it's just like back to back poor. But they're both beautiful countries, and I just remember I really never had envy until I got a little older. I'm trying to think, have I ever had? No, I've never had envy, to be honest, because everything, like, if I wanted something, I would pretty much, somebody else had it, I would find a way, be like, okay, I have to have money to buy, to get what they have, so I have to put in the work. So no, I never had envy. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I've always worked for everything that I got, and then when I got it, it was like, oh shit, this is the feeling. So as a kid, I had, I learned how to deal with envy. Is pretty much just go out into the world and make money, and then make myself happy. And then once I got it, I was like, oh shit, that's it. But outro. Subscribe to the channel. Comment any questions you have. Like if the information was inspiring for you. And share this knowledge with other alchemists. Also, follow me on Instagram for more progressive knowledge. My Instagram is Max_Bugatti_8008. I'm about family first. I'm a global stock investor. I'm a filmmaker. I'm an aerospace botanist, 420. I have a masculine confidence building course. Get at me. And currently, I am out here in Cali, Colombia until the 4th of February, 2019. So I'll be back in West Side, Cali. I did the Cali to Cali. Pretty much Cali, Colombia to Cali, West Side. That type. So while you're slaying dragons, I'll be taming them.